Niccolo Machiavelli lived 500 years ago, but his principles remain brutally relevant today. If you want to build a successful mindset in the modern world, you need to understand the strategic thinking that Machiavelli outlined in his masterwork, The Prince. This isn't about being ruthless or immoral. It's about seeing the world clearly, understanding power dynamics, and making decisions based on reality rather than wishful thinking. The first principle is this: perception is reality. What people believe about you matters far more than the absolute truth. In business, in relationships, and in your career, your reputation is your currency. If people perceive you as competent, decisive, and trustworthy, then you are those things in their eyes. Machiavelli understood that managing this perception is not deception, it's strategic communication. You must be intentional about how you present yourself to the world. The second principle is understanding power structures. Every organization, every social group, and every industry operates according to hidden hierarchies and unwritten rules. Successful people study these dynamics obsessively. They observe who holds real influence, who makes decisions, and who controls resources. This isn't paranoia, it's awareness. When you understand the actual power structure, you can navigate it effectively instead of bumping into invisible walls. The third principle is adaptability. Machiavelli believed that fortune favors the bold, but only when they're prepared. A successful mindset requires flexibility. You must be willing to change your approach based on circumstances. What worked last year might fail this year. The market shifts, competitors emerge, technologies evolve. Rigid thinking leads to failure, adaptable thinking leads to survival and growth. The fourth principle is calculated risk-taking. Machiavelli wasn't a gambler, he was a strategist. Before he took risks, he gathered intelligence, analyzed outcomes, and understood the consequences. A successful mindset requires you to do the same. Don't avoid risk, instead understand it completely before you commit. The fifth principle is loyalty to results, not to methods. Machiavelli famously suggested that the ends can justify the means. In modern terms, this means you should focus on outcomes rather than being attached to how you achieve them. If your current strategy isn't working, abandon it. If a tactic isn't producing results, discard it and try something new. Successful people are ruthlessly pragmatic about what works and what doesn't. The sixth principle is knowing when to appear strong and when to appear weak. You don't always want to show your full hand. Sometimes strategic silence is more powerful than explanation. Sometimes appearing less capable than you are gives you an advantage. Machiavelli understood that information asymmetry is a tool. The seventh principle is building a network of trusted advisors. Machiavelli emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with intelligent people who will give you honest feedback. These aren't yes men, they're people who will challenge your thinking and expose your blind spots. A successful mindset requires intellectual humility and a willingness to be questioned. The eighth principle is maintaining emotional control. In high-stakes situations, the person who remains calm and rational wins. Fear, anger, and desperation cloud judgment. Machiavelli observed that leaders who controlled their emotions outmaneuvered those who didn't. You must master your emotional responses if you want to think strategically. The ninth principle is understanding that morality and strategy are separate domains. Machiavelli didn't say to be immoral. He said to recognize that ethical considerations and practical strategy are different things. In business, you need both. You need principles that guide your behavior, and you need the strategic mind to navigate complex situations. These aren't contradictory, they're complementary. The 10th principle is recognizing that nothing is permanent. Fortunes change, markets crash, alliances dissolve. A successful mindset means accepting impermanence and preparing for it. This isn't pessimism, it's realism. When you accept that everything can change, you stop becoming complacent. You stay vigilant. You keep improving. You never assume that past success guarantees future success. These 10 principles form the foundation of a Machiavellian mindset. They're not about being evil. They're about being awake. They're about seeing the world as it actually is, not as you wish it to be. They're about making decisions based on power, strategy, and realistic assessment of human nature. When you apply these principles, you develop a mindset that's resilient, adaptive, and effective. You learn to read people. You learn to navigate systems. You learn to achieve your goals despite obstacles and opposition. In today's competitive world, whether you're building a business, advancing your career, or pursuing any significant goal, these principles will serve you well. The key is to study them, internalize them, and apply them with awareness and integrity. That's how you build a successful mindset rooted in Machiavellian wisdom. Understanding perception shapes how you present yourself in every professional interaction. Your reputation becomes your most valuable asset in competitive environments. Power structures exist everywhere, and studying them reveals opportunities others miss. Recognition of these hidden dynamics gives you strategic advantage. Adaptability and approach protects you when circumstances shift unexpectedly. Flexibility separates those who survive from those who fail when disruption arrives. Calculated analysis of risk separates wise strategy for reckless gambling. Every decision should be preceded by intelligence gathering and consequence evaluation. Results matter more than the specific path taken to reach them. Clinging to failed methods while ignoring outcomes wastes time and resources. Strategic restraint in revealing your capabilities creates competitive advantage. Surrounding yourself with challengers strengthens your thinking and exposes weaknesses. Emotional mastery in pressure moments determines who wins and who loses. Integration of ethics and strategy creates sustainable success. Nothing remains stable forever, and this reality should drive continuous preparation and improvement. Apply these principles consciously, and your mindset will become unstoppable.